Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Talkin' Tunes. I am your host, Frank Walsh. And ladies and gentlemen, you know that we have been showing a lot of shows recently featuring the blues and featuring some rock and roll. But today we're going to take a little bit of a left turn and bring you more into the contemporary music world, because I have the good fortune of having three guests here who are absolutely going to blow your mind with their talent, their vocals, their musicianship. So normally I give a big introduction, but for the sake of time, and I know that you want to hear them rather than me, I am going to introduce to you these three great performers. To my right, I have Linda Marks. Linda.
Thank you, Frank.
I have the great Dave Birkin. And I have
Claire McFarland.
Claire McFarland. Claire is the youngest member of our group, and I understand that she has the voice of an angel, so you are going to be in for a treat today. So, without further ado, welcome, folks.
Thank you.
Linda, it's an honor to have you here. I know that we've been trying to plan this for quite a while,
Yes.
and we were finally able to pull it off. So, why don't you take a couple of seconds and look into that little camera right over there and let the folks at home know a little bit about Linda Marks.
Sure. Well, when I was a little girl, I didn't talk till I was 3, but when I was about 1.5 and I was a toddler, I started toddling my way to the piano and started writing music. So I've been writing music my whole life. And
So that's maybe what, 22, 23 years?
22, 23 years.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. 21 forever. Yes. And when I was young, it was really my greatest passion. When I went to Yale, I was a music major, and I founded Yale's third women's a cappella singing group called Something Extra with 3 other women when I was 17, and it's still there now. And I
Nice.
ran a cabaret, and I cut my first album in the 80s when I was about 21, in the days where you made a tape.
I remember those.
Yes, yes. But the challenge for me is that the singer-songwriter genre hadn't fully come out. Well, it was coming out. Carole King, James Taylor, they were creating the singer-songwriter genre. But in terms of getting gigs, when I'd go to clubs, they'd say, we really like your music, but it doesn't fit in a box. So I ended up going into the mind-body medicine field. I'm a specialist with the heart, the relationship of the emotional heart to the physical heart. And that was how I was able to earn a living. But when my son, who's now 20, got older, I raised him as a single mom, and when my mother died of Alzheimer's almost 2 years ago, that gave me the full focus to go back to do music. And so I cut an album that came out last September. We released it at Scullers Jazz Club called Heart to Heart. I have another album that's coming out this fall that's called Coming Full Circle. And then a third album is going into production, and it's called Say Yes to Love, which is one of the songs we're going to be doing today.
Great. Now, I know you mentioned Scullers. You have performed pretty much in every great venue around Boston and around Massachusetts, and you played with some very prominent people.
I'm very grateful. Boston has a very rich musical community.
It does.
And I'm very grateful for that. An organization I'm part of is the Boston Association of Cabaret Artists.
BACA, yeah.
And it's a wonderful community of singers, and we have wonderful musicians around us, and so I'm very grateful.
Well, you have one of them right here with you
Yes, I
today.
do.
This gentleman, Dave Birkin.
Okay.
So Dave, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
And I have heard you warming up, and I've heard you all practicing a little bit. Folks, you're in for a treat today. So why don't you take a minute or two and let the folks know about you. I know you have your own bands, and you play
Sure.
all over the place. So tell the folks
Starting
a
at
little
the
about you.
beginning, I actually started playing the flute when I was 6 years old.
Wow.
The idea was if my hands were big enough to reach around the keys, they would start me, So I started that, and didn't take up the sax until I was like in high school. Before that, I taught myself guitar from the Beatles, and I still play some guitar as well. I've been with the long-standing band I've been with is the Calypso Hurricane,
Right.
Boston area. Yeah, I think we were in the Boston Music Awards back in the 80s sometime, but we still play. And I've got my own group, Dave being the Hot Shots, and that's been together since the early 90s.
Cool. Now you and Linda play together frequently.
That's right. She actually
Frequently.
came to a gig. That's why she heard,
Yeah.
heard me at the now closed down
The
Johnny
Smokin'
D's.
Joe's
Smokin'
Bar
Joe's.
Smokin'
Joe's, sure.
Blues.
Yeah.
Yeah. They. But she was down there and with her friend Tracy, I believe.
Or Angela.
No, it was Tracy.
It was Tracy that night?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that's how we met, and she started calling me.
Great.
Yeah.
And I come every time she calls. I just, sure, I'm there.
Right. Have sax and flute will travel, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. We both sound great together from what I heard in the rehearsal. And now it is your turn down there, young lady. How do you fit into this group of greatness? Because I had heard you sing, and I know that you have been described as having the voice of an angel. So why don't you tell the folks at home a little bit about you? You're in school, and talk a little bit about your music and maybe a couple of your influences.
I first started singing when I was very, very young, and I first started doing musicals with my after-school program.
Cool.
My first one I ever did was Bye Bye Birdie, and that was fun. Music is very special to me, and I met Linda Marks actually in a showcase, and we started doing songs together, and I sing one of her originals with her. And that's really special to me, and she's very inspiring, and that's really special to me.
Now, do you see your future being more of a vocalist, let's say like Linda, versus being a theatrical performer, singing in plays, etc.?
I do hope to be on Broadway someday. So
Well, I think you have a good start from what I hear. You have a good start, and you have some great mentors here as well.
Yes, I do. Yes, and I appreciate it a lot. So, I do love to act and sing a lot, and
Good.
it's really special. So.
And you were in school. Why don't you give a plug to your school, where you go to school, and what grade you're in?
So I am from Newton, MA, and I go to FA Day Middle School, and I'm in 7th grade right now, and
my
I
God.
will be in 8th grade soon. Yeah.
Well, I've been fortunate to have a young guitar slinger on here a couple of times. He's 16 years old, so we have him and we have you. I feel very comfortable that the future of music is in good hands. But we didn't come here to talk all the time, folks. I'm sure that you want to hear these folks perform. So why don't you introduce what you're going to be doing? You're going to
Okay.
be doing a couple of songs to
Yes.
start off. Why don't you introduce them?
Okay, so the first 2 songs that we're going to be doing, the 3 songs we're doing right now are all songs I wrote.
Right.
So the first 2 are dedicated to a very special friend of mine from college named Arda Levis. He was diagnosed 4 years, 6 months, and about 2 weeks ago with stage 4 non-smoker lung cancer. And he's beyond the 1% on the bell curve for survival. And so I went to visit him in November, and he's just an incredibly inspirational person. He was a multilingual educator. He's a secular Franciscan priest, and he's a fantastic artist. He paints santos, which is a whole Hispanic cultural form. He has pictures in museums. And I was very, very moved by what was going on for him, which got me involved with an organization called Upstage Lung Cancer. Hildy Grossman, who's another cabaret singer, 10 years ago was diagnosed with non-smoker lung cancer. So I found that to be a very, very, very important cause. So the first song, which is called Say Yes to Love, is dedicated to Art, because his partner, Chris, was saying that to Art when Art was afraid to have a number of us come visit him because he didn't know how he was going to feel. So Chris said to Art, say yes to love. And then he said, Linda, is that a song title? And I said, let me think about it. And a song came. The second song is called Love is the Answer. And that's a song I wrote for the Upstage Lung Cancer Sing Out benefit concert on May 20th, which will take place at the Dana-Farber Boston Red Sox Jimmy Fund Auditorium.
Great.
So those are the first 2 songs.
Great. Well, folks at home, you are going to be in for a treat. So if you guys don't mind, go up and get ready.
Sometimes I think the world is spinning out of control. How did we get here? What can we do? An airplane, a theater,
So guys, that was quite a performance over there. I'm sure
you.
the folks at home are going to be very proud, and they have enjoyed that very much, and it's very clear that that music is dear to your heart. So speaking of that, Linda, what would you say, who are some of your influences that you draw from? I know that you are a big Carole King fan, and I know that you have something coming up relative to Carole King, so I'm sure she's one of your big influences.
Yeah, as a little girl, Carole King, Burt Bacharach, and a lot of Broadway musicals were influences, and a lot of people made jokes because my hair looks like Carole King. But on May 2nd, I'm doing a Carole King Burt Bacharach show with Karuko Pilkington, who's another fine singer who teaches at Berkeley.
Nice.
And Dave will be playing with us, and Tom Lamarck on piano. It's going to be at Club Cafe in Boston as part of the First Monday series. So we're greatly looking forward to that.
Great, glad to hear that. Dave, you and I were talking a little bit before the show about influences, and I love saxophone. We rattled off a whole bunch of names. If I were to go out into your car or look into your CDs, I mean, which sax players would I find?
Actually, a lot of vinyl records.
We're not that old.
I still have them. I haven't thrown them out yet.
Yeah. But who
I mean, I studied jazz for many years.
Yeah.
And so that's, I'd say, all the great tenor and alto players in jazz. Charlie Parker.
Charlie Parker, you into the Coltrane.
Sonny Rollins,
or
John Coltrane. And Michael Brecker,
Sure.
all those people. I mean, they're great.
Right.
And as far as emulating, I mean, when you're starting out, you learn by imitating.
Sure.
But then after you've matured, you develop something
pick
of
up
your
your
own
own
from
style.
it. And the R&B players, of course, in the '50s there was Red Prysock who did the hand clapping.
Yep.
And
you mentioned Junior Walker. Was
Junior
one of your-
Walker, he was great. There's so many people. I can't even think of all their names, but I mean they're in there somewhere.
Cool.
Definitely, they're part of me. So.
Very, very cool. And what about you, Claire? When you listen to music these days, who do you have in your CD player, and who do you like?
I do love Idina Menzel. I like how she's been on Broadway and she's been a part of a lot of movies.
Yes.
And she set out to write her own music too, so that's fun, and I hope to write my own music someday.
Cool.
But a lot of my sound is based off of her, and I include my own style into it. But she's like pretty special to me.
Do you draw from any of the the classic female singers, such as Streisand, or even more contemporary Linda Eder, or Emily, Ripley, Skinner? I mean, some of the Broadway greats, the ladies of Broadway.
I do like them a lot. Some of them I don't recognize the names he said though.
You probably heard them though.
Yes, I probably have somewhere, but I do like classical stuff, and I do like people who have been on Broadway. And so I hope to one day be like them and up there too.
Well, I think you're off to a good start, so stay with it, and I'm sure you have a lot of support. And I know we would be remiss if we didn't mention your special supporter who is here today, kind of rooting you on in the background. Who's here rooting you on?
Yes, my father. He's
your
here.
Dad.
Yes, he's chuckling back there. He's a great supporter. He's really special. He helps me out a lot with my musical stuff.
Good.
He plays guitar and a lot of different instruments. And so when I was little, I always heard him playing Imagine on the piano by John Lennon and all these famous songs. And so I've grown to really love those songs, and I've grown to love him.
Great. Well, you answered one of my next questions. I was going to ask if you came from a musical family, but you already answered that. Now, Linda, why don't you talk a little bit about this special cause that you have, and I know that you have you had brought a CD here, and why don't you tell the people at home some of the places where you played. I know you've rattled off some, but you play so frequently. Maybe you can point out some of the venues where you play and some of your upcoming gigs that people can see, and also how people can reach you.
Okay. To reach me, my website is www.lindamarksmusic.com. And you can also get me through Facebook. I'm on Facebook as Linda Marks Music. In terms of some upcoming gigs, on April 14th, I have a gig at the Boston Public Library. Dave will be playing with me and Tom Lamarck.
Okay.
And I just did a gig at Riles this last Tuesday
Right.
with Mark Shalansky on piano, Greg Holt on bass, and Steve Shigaris on drums. Also, in addition to the Club Cafe gig on May 2nd, there's the Upstage Lung Cancer gig on the 20th
Right.
of May. So those are some of the ones that are in my mind. I have to go look at my calendar beyond that, but those are all upcoming gigs.
And people can get your CDs. They can go out online, or
Yes,
how can they
it's on
purchase your CDs?
Amazon, it's on CD Baby, it's on iTunes,
Mm-hmm.
and you can listen on Spotify, because actually one of my Facebook friends said that they just listened to the whole album on Spotify.
Nice.
So all of those are available.
Great.
Yes.
Okay. Now, you have another song that you were going to be singing in a minute. Why don't you take a second to talk about the song you're going to be doing next? And I know, Claire, that you're going to have a little feature in this.
Yes. Yes. The song we're doing next is from the Heart to Heart CD. And I wrote it when I was about 19 years old, actually. And I rewrote some lyrics when Shirley Lewis, who was the Regal Queen of the Blues, died, and I had the privilege of singing the song at her funeral.
Wow.
So it's a song that goes back very far in my life, and it's called You'll Never Be Alone Again. And it, like many things I write about, it talks about the power of love.
Great. How beautiful is that? And Shirley was definitely the queen, and we were fortunate to have her daughter, Angela Warner,
Yes.
was on the show here, and we had
Yes.
we had a lot of fun, and Shirley was special, so I'm sure that she will enjoy this. So if you folks want to go up there and get ready,
Okay, we
will
will.
be listening to the name of this song again,
You'll Never Be Alone.
You'll Never Be Alone.
You were born with a gift to be able to see levels most others can't. And you sure know how to love. You know how to support like no other I've known.
And when you reach inside over time, another spirit and light a flame, a special love will kindle and grow, bringing strength and inspiration. You have a place in my heart that you carefully nurtured. To help me grow, it will help you grow. And with that place in my heart, and with what you'll receive, you'll never be alone. As the seasons change, as we learn and grow, while most people move on their ways, you'll never be alone. You will never be alone. You will never be alone again.
Well, once again, you have dazzled with that song that is coming off of your CD that is out, Heart to Heart. So folks, if you want to hear more of that beautiful music, please go out online, go to the website, go to Facebook, look up Linda Marks, and check out Heart to Heart. You will not be disappointed. But one of the things I said to you guys when you came on is that time seems to be our enemy. And we have just a little bit of time. So are there any parting words that each of you would like to say about music, or anything that you'd want to share?
The two things I would just say is something very near and dear to my heart is mentoring, and encouraging young people to pursue their musical dreams is really important. So it was a real pleasure to meet Claire, and it's a real pleasure to have her sing. And my final comment is just that I believe that music is a universal language and it bridges all divides. And in times like these, whether it's the political situation in the United States or all the bombings, we really need to bring more people together through music because it helps us connect heart to heart.
Well, you folks made a good start of that today. Thank you. Dave?
Yeah, I just thought I'd acknowledge my wife, who's a great classical pianist, world class, and she performs quite a bit. She teaches at Wellesley College, that you know, where Hillary Clinton went.
And, her name, and your wife's name is?
Is Jenny Tang.
Jenny Tang.
Yeah, and has perfect pitch. A lot of people, Asian people, have perfect pitch.
Could she play for the Red Sox? They could use a perfect pitch. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, just right, it just lands the right way. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah.
Thank you. Claire?
Oh.
Well, I definitely want to thank Linda Marks because without her, I would not be here today with this amazing opportunity and not have the chance to work with her, which has been really fun. It's been really, I've taught a lot. I've learned a lot from it. And I also want to thank my dad, who's been really helpful to me through all of this, everything that's going on. And,
Great.
Yeah, and I also, back to what Linda said, I believe that music is in everybody, whether they listen to it or whether they sing it or whatever they do in their life. I believe it's there, even if they don't feel like they have any connection to music. I do believe it is in their soul, and that is something that we all have in common, and that's something to bring all people together, and that's a really special thing to have and a really special thing to be a part of. So.
Well, I don't think that I could add anything better than that as a way to close the show, other than to thank each of you. Linda.
Thank you.
Especially your kind words. And Dave, thank you so much for being here. It's been a blast. So folks, as always, go out, support your local musicians, go to the venues, because without you, these folks have no fun and wouldn't be doing what they're doing. So for everyone here at SMAC who did a tremendous job putting this show together, Roxanne Morse, Mike Hammond, Dave Young, thank you very much. And as always, tune in and tune on.
Lift me, won't you lift me above the old routine? Make it nice.